What's up, everybody? Yes, indeed, man. This cat is back. You guys already know what time it is with me. I don't talk about it, I stay about it. Well, anyways, people, I'll give a quick shout out to all of my followers, my subscribers, and especially my channel members, man. Much love and appreciation for you guys, man. You guys do a lot for my channel. You guys keep me in the algorithm. You show your constant support, and it's sincere, man. I really appreciate that. And once again, I always got to give a shout out to the Trollos. You know what I mean? They also help keep me in the algorithm. It's all good, though. Well, today, it's going to be a little bit different, man. We're going to talk about the YouTube Yarda. And in comparison to the real Yarda, what's going on behind them walls. Because there was an incident with TOREY LANEZ. If you guys ain't familiar with him, he's an artist out of Canada. He's busted, doing time, and someone made a move on him. The person that made a move on him was actually a J-Cat, you know what I mean? And there's been a lot of hoorah going on in the YouTube Yarda. So I need to address that, you know what I mean? Bring some light to this situation here, you know what I mean? Give my perspective on it. But first and foremost, man, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, put your notification bell and all. Share this channel. That way we can get up to 10,000 subscribers. And once I reach that goal of mine, I will start doing lives. And with the lives, I will interact with everybody. You know what I mean? You guys are all welcome to pull up to the YouTube Yarda, to my Yarda. You know, just come with respect. Because like I've said in the past, and I'm going to tell you guys today, there's not going to be no calientadas, people. Strictly removals. We ain't here to fiddle diddle. We're gonna do a whole lot of removing if you guys come out of character and come at individuals in a disrespectful manner. Well, anyways, people, I need to remind you guys once again, this is a fitness channel. You know, I'm always starting off talking about something that has to do with nutrition, overall health, fitness. I know a lot of you guys want to see me do workouts, this and that, but that ain't gonna happen, people. You know what I mean? If you want to go look at my workouts, go check out my Instagram. My Instagram's high_power_fitness, high_power_fitness_. You know what I mean? I have over 2 years of me working out right there. You know, the proof is in the pudding, people. You know what I mean? I obviously know what I'm doing. You know, because trust and believe, if there was a magic pill that you could just swallow and get results, I'd be sharing it with everybody. That would be, man, that would be a blessing, right? You know, coming from the backgrounds that we come from, we have to really put in that work. You know, we're not all genetically inclined like certain individuals, you know. Like I've said in the past, I'm going to tell you guys today, I remember doing time back in the day, individuals would watch me work out, and I was hitting 8 quarters. You know, I was a beast when I was a youngster, you know, when I was back in Soledad when they had weights and all that. People would watch me work out and they would get buff. I was trying to figure that one out. I said, why the fuck these cats do that? All they ever do, they come to the weight pit just to chop it up. Never really see them getting any money. But, you know, as I gotten older and wiser, I came to my attention, you know, they were genetically inclined, you know, they were blessed. You know, it is what it is. Some of us are dealt better hands than others. And I tell you one thing, man, there's certain individuals that have the best hands of the houses. And if I was given an opportunity, I would chop mine off, throw them away, and get theirs. I'm just talking, I'm wolfing, people. You know what I mean? That's old jailhouse humor, you know, from behind them walls. That's the way we did our time back in the day, you know. I don't know how it is nowadays, but people, man, it's crazy. Well, anyways, people, I am a full-time online fitness coach, and that's one thing you have to get accustomed to. I do ramble on a lot. You know, if you want to get started in your fitness journey, you can shoot me a DM. It's high_power_fitness, high_power_fitness_, or you could email me at highpowerfitness@yahoo.com. I will get you going to becoming that best version of yourself. You know, I will help you break those limited beliefs. And I do have a blueprint to success, guaranteed to work, man. Sign up for that 90-day program. You can lose up to 30 pounds of fat and build muscle at the same time. And the best thing about it is you have a coach that you could reach out to at any time of day. As long as my eyes are peeled back and open, I will get on the horn and chop it up with you to walk you through with whatever you're struggling with. That's what I do. It's my passion, man. It's my biggest reward in doing this. Not only is that I get to spend, you know, quality time now with my family, but it's by me giving back to the people and helping them change their lives. You know, it's a reward in itself. You know, it's been a blessing. You know, for those of you that don't know, I was a truck driver for many years, and I miss truck driving, but then I don't, because I'm here every day with my family doing what I do, and I'm here every day to help people achieve their goals and break their limited beliefs. You know, so yeah, today I'm not going to really touch on too much on nutrition, you know, just other than that I am a full-time online fitness coach, and I'm repeating myself. If you want to get started in your fitness journey, I mean, the proof is in the pudding, you know what I mean? If you want it, I'm 54 and I'm in the best shape of my life, you know. I could guide you through it, walk you through it, and help you get them results, you know, make you break them limited beliefs that you thought you couldn't achieve, you know. That's what I'm here for. So, let's get to the YouTube Yarda, man. There's been so much shit jumping off here in the YouTube Yarda, and people, they have this misconception of what goes on out here is going to carry on behind them walls. You have people that try to play dictatorship out here, and yes, they have big platforms, but I can tell you one thing right now. What goes on out here, what people try to push out here, the propaganda out here, it won't affect what goes on behind them walls. What people do behind them walls reflects what we do out here. You're that type of person that lives that lifestyle. Now to your, how should I say, your common civilian, or just your regular human being that's not participating in all the stuff that goes on behind them walls, that haven't the slightest idea, it doesn't affect them one bit. You know what I mean? They already have a life of challenges. But when you live the life that I once lived, what goes on behind them walls affects out here tremendously. It has a big impact on that. It's not the other way around. So for those of you that are thinking that incident that happened with Mr. Tory Lanez is gonna create something, yes, it happened behind them walls, but the gentlemen that are doing time behind them walls, that live there behind, you know, full time, that are doing all day, or even the ones that aren't, you know, that are just there as being guests, there's certain protocols that we go by. And I can tell you one thing right now, that individual that took off on Tory Lanez, he was a straight motherfucking J-Cat. Not only was it a J-Cat, he was a piece of shit. You know, so right there in itself speaks volumes, the type of yard that Tory Lanez was on. You know, obviously he's not on a GP yard. If something like that were to have happened in the GP yard, it would have happened right there and then. Something would have jumped off. And then you get slammed down. Well, I'm just telling you from experience from back in my day, you'd get slammed down and they would gradually start releasing little bit people at a time to see the way it functions. And, you know, but back to the Tory Lanez, I really don't see nothing coming out of it, because it's obvious what went on was done on one of them SNY yards, and it was done by a J-Cat, somebody that wasn't, you know, that's not playing with the full deck. You know, this individual walks around that yard like a walking time bomb, and for him to be permitted to walk around that yard carrying the jacket that he has says a lot what type of yard he was on, because there's no way in the world that individual would be able to walk a main line, you know, not carrying that type of jacket. And as far as these people out here in the YouTube Yarda trying to play dictators, trying to stir shit up, you guys shouldn't have to worry about nothing like that. You know what I mean? If something were going to happen, it would have done happen. But I could guarantee what the voices out here have no influence on what goes on over there. You know, I see it day in, day out, people trying to dictate my program, the way I'm going to run my yard. You know what I mean? And I make humor of this, people, and the reason why is because I learned to accept that you guys title this as the YouTube Yarda. You know what I mean? I lived that life in the past, and the past is the past. You know what I mean? The past is, you know, the past. The future's a mystery. And today, this day that I'm living, the present is a gift. It's exactly what it's titled as, people. So you guys need to really stop worrying about so much what happened with that individual. If there's going to be repercussions behind it, like I said, it would have been a done-data. Tory Lanez, from what I hear, he's an individual that is sees no color. He shows love to everybody, you know. And you know, even if he's colorblind, the main thing that works behind them walls, man, is respect. Respect goes a long way, and that goes for whoever you're doing time with. You know, respect is key. But there are those individuals, man, that you can see they don't belong there behind them walls, and they show love to all races. It's a great thing, you know what I mean? As far as myself, I show love to anybody and everybody that's a person that's trying to make it in life and that's respectful to the next man. Because at the end of the day, man, we're all human beings. You know, we put ourselves in environments where we have to become something other than what we originally were. And if you guys are familiar with what I'm talking about, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I spoke on this in the past about a story when I first hit the county jail, you know what I mean? I didn't see hatred towards anybody. Yeah, I was surrounded by a lot of individuals from different races that for sure weren't in my neighborhood. And no, I'm not just speaking of the brothers. I'm speaking of, you know, Asian, white folks, and so on and so on. You know, growing up in my times, it was nothing but like homies. You know what I mean? This day of age, it's changed a lot of Asians, a lot of everybody. You know what I mean? It's all good. You know what I mean? It just shows. It shows signs that times are changing for the better because we're able to be civilized to one another. That's important in life, man. Civilization is what's going to keep this world going round. You know, that's why I'm constantly trying to support everybody and anybody, even if I didn't grow up around you, you know, give you guys your recognition, you know, because it's like paying it forward. You know what I mean? Yeah, I know I went rambling on. That's what this OG does, man. If you don't like it, you guys could always swipe right, swipe left. You know what I mean? There ain't going to be no shine off of my state boots. I've said it in the past, and I'm telling you now. It's no big deal. You know, one way or another, I will get to them 10,000 subscribers, and once I get them 10,000 subscribers, I will be doing this live, and I will interact with everybody. And if I see that you're coming at me foul, I will ignore you. I will give you a heads up and give you a warning. Because, like I said, if you get removed, I'm going to allow you to buy your way back into the yarda. That's something that I'm totally against, but hey, it is what it is. Might as well set the reglas down right. So, if you want to come and play, you're going to have to pay. You know, at the end of the day, hey, you could go ahead and make new profiles, this and that, because I know that's what goes on a lot, man. I see cats that I've what gives them away is their vernacular, because they still have that same lingo when they put it down in literature. You know what I mean? When they're scripting it, as far as, you know, typing it up on the comments, it's the same lingo. May have a different profile, different handle, but it's the same person. You know what I mean? So that's one thing that you can't disguise. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're really good at what you do. And a lot of you guys are just fooling yourselves because you really ain't that good at what you do. As far as doing your trolloing and your, the net banging and all that, trying to portray something that you're not. Especially when you guys try to say you're from my area. That's one thing I know that has not changed in my area. There's a lot of words that we don't use that a lot of other areas do use. They're not in our vocabulary. Homies will be spoken to. Let's just put it that way. You know what I mean? Because it just there's a lot of pride that runs deep in my barrio. So if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. I won't bring out neighborhood stuff here. For those of you that are familiar with my neighborhood, you guys know the way we roll. Yeah. But anyways, people, I know I went rambling on, and I needed to speak on the YouTube Yarda a little bit and what Tory Lanez, if that's going to have an effect, what happened with him, if that shit's going to set off. And does our YouTube Yarda out here have influence over the mainliners behind them walls? Absolutely not. These guys are just, what I like to say, they probably mean what they say, but they ain't going to have that support behind it. You know what I'm saying? What goes on behind them walls goes on behind them walls, should stay behind them walls. But that is one thing that I know. What goes on behind them walls has a reflection of what happens out here when you live in that gang life. You know what I mean? If you're living the mi vida loca out here, there's a very big influence that comes from behind there, out here. I won't say what it is, but it is what it is. If you know, you know. If you don't know, then you don't need to know. It really isn't that important, because out here in the real world is the real challenge. Well, anyways, people, with that being said, man, I'm going to bring this video to an end. Remember to hit the like and subscribe button. Put your notification bell on all. And when you hit that subscribe button, make sure you go to that notification bell and take it off of personalized and put it on all. That way you could get notifications whenever I drop material. And once again, if you guys are interested in signing up with my fitness program, I know I didn't elaborate too much on fitness or nutrition today. I usually do that every other day. Go check out my Instagram, High Power Fitness, high_power_fitness_. Give me a follow, leave me a message, and I'll get in contact with you, and we can chop it up and go over your fitness goals, and I'll get you started on becoming that 10.5. Right here in High Power Fitness, we don't settle for less, baby. 10.5, that's exactly how I came up with my name of High Power Fitness. Why settle for less when you could have the best, baby? You know what I mean? 54, best shape of my life, and I want to share my knowledge with you guys, the ones that have been struggling. So shoot me that DM or email me at highpowerfitness@yahoo.com. And once again, once we reach 10,000 subscribers, people, I'll start doing lives, and on my lives I will interact with everybody. I sound like repeat, but it is what it is. That's what this cat does right here. I ramble, I repeat, and go on rewind sometimes. That's what I'm known for. Anyways, people, that being said, it's a beautiful day today. As you can see, sun's out, guns out. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing to it but to do it. Don't talk about it, be about it, baby. Now get up and get yours. Let's do this.